Hi, my name's Adam Fletcher, and for this, the 8th installment of my series on re-envisioning the roles of young people throughout society, I'm going to explore the role of adults as allies to young people. The notion of adult allies to youth is pretty important. It sits right in the middle of what it means in order to actually look at where young people are today and where they can go in the future. Adult allies are people who have become dedicated and committed to having deliberate and intentional interactions with young people in a way that is equitable, meaningful, and important, both to the young person who's participating and to the adult. Adult allies can range throughout young people's lives, from their homes with parents and other guardians and other relatives who are older than them, to schools with teachers, staff members, school nurses, and other individuals at the building, to community organizations where youth workers, nonprofit administrators, and other folks can also be adult allies to youth. Adult allyship isn't one job. It's not just one place that adults can show up to one day and decide, I'm going to be an adult ally. It is something that we can all aspire to, though. With my young daughter, I've chosen to be an adult ally to her as a parent. Now, this doesn't mean handing her over the keys to the car and letting her learn how to drive on her own when she's 15. Instead, it means being a deliberate and intentional role model, parent, and teacher to her throughout her life. It means acting in a way that stresses equity. Not equality, but equity. Equality is when things are split 50-50, equal all the way across the board. Equity is when opportunities are made to meet the needs, the perceived needs and the real needs of the people who are involved in a way that brings them all to parity by the outcome. My goal with my daughter isn't necessarily to allow her to run my house or our house when she's a child. Instead, it's to create an opportunity for her to become a responsible adult, and as she's growing up, to acknowledge the unique place that she has in the world as a child and as a youth. So, adult allies have this burden on them throughout all these different settings. For teachers in classrooms, being an adult ally can range from allowing young people to determine their own course of learning to helping young people understand how they fit into the entire democracy that we fit into and what their role as a student means in that democracy. Being an adult ally in a religious institution might mean encouraging young people to explore and examine what their religion and spiritual background means to them, and encouraging young people to have the support and tools that they need to be active and engaged in their spiritual background. So adult allies have a variety of roles, and they range throughout society in all these different ways. There are lots of guidelines that adult allies need to pay attention to, and that I think are actually pretty central to our roles as adult allies. I think that it's important also that we find guidelines to operate by. Some of the guidelines that I have around being an adult ally include if we don't feel I believe that if we don't feel discomfort every single time we're engaging young people, we might not be engaging them right. I think that it's the responsibility of young people to be critical and challenging to adults in every setting throughout our lives. Now, are there times where that can lax? Sure. Are there times where are more appropriate than others? Absolutely. But being a responsible adult ally means that we engage young people in this critical way every opportunity that we get. Another important rule that I like to follow is that if you can't speak your truth as an adult to young people, then you're not being an adult ally at your core. Young people need to know adults as honest and authentic human beings. Part of that honest authenticity is being able to speak our truth, to tell what we believe is true, what we believe is false, and what we stand for in the world, and what we stand against in the world. Being an authentic adult ally means that we are committed to that. Another important rule that I believe that adult allies need to listen to is that when we engage young people, we must listen for understanding and not come with our own preformed ideas, opinions, and attitudes about the outcomes that are ahead of us that we're sharing with the young people that we work with. Now, there are things that we know as adults, and I think that that's important. There are also things that young people know as youth and children, and I think that's important too. And as an adult ally, I believe that it's my responsibility to listen for understanding. So instead of using my preconceived notion of how the world works, I'm going to engage young people as an ally to help me change my perspective or to help them learn what my perspective is. Finally, I believe that all adult allies have to take risks every single time that we engage with young people. That means responsible risks that are footed inside of knowledge and activity and action and outcomes, and responsible risks that are safe, the way that I talked about in my last broadcast. However, I think it's equally as important to say that those risks sometimes mean going up against long entrenched systems, and it means sometimes standing up against the powers that be in order to encourage active democracy for every citizen throughout our country. That's all I'm going to say about adult allyship today. To learn more, you can go to the Free Child website under Issues and look at Adult Allies and see what comes up. There's some really cool stuff. Thanks a lot for joining me today. Again, my name's Adam Fletcher, and to learn more about my work, you can visit bicyclingfish.com. Join me next time as I continue to re-envision the roles of young people throughout society. Thanks and have a great day.